never go back when the water was bad.
Well, y'all got the stories kicked off while I was still setting up.
Oh, was it? Are we running now?
Look, we live.
Oh, cool.
If that's good, as long as that's good with you.
Oh, okay. I'm good.
All right.
I'm ready to go elk hunting.
Shoot, I'm ready to go elk
Hey,
hunting.
look, it's almost time. It's still a cool 99 degrees in July.
Oh,
Let's
man.
go.
Let me tell you, you leave this 100-degree weather with the humidity and everything, and you get out there and you're excited already, and you wake up the first morning, it's 40 degrees. Maybe you're lucky you'll hear an elk. It's just September is the place to be. That's the mountains. There's no doubt about it. And I have enjoyed, I think, 56 years of it in a row.
All right,
Yeah, so really quick, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay, I'm Kenny Dyess, and I've been hunting elk for about 50-something years. And I want to make it clear that I'm not an authority. I've just done a lot of hunting. So everything I'm going to tell you, some of the things you may not have heard, but it's my take, and I have witnessed and done everything that I'm going to tell you. I'm not getting this from somebody else, or you're getting it truly from my heart on what I've seen and what I've experienced. So that's a lot of years. And so please, take it with a grain of salt if you want, but I'm telling you just exactly the way it is. And the reason I'm here, let me back up just a second, is I had an elderly gentleman that I become real close to. Still kind of gets me, but anyway, Dr. Earl Spikes was a great archer, and we got to riding together. We got in the same deer lease, and one day he told me, he said, "I think you're about ready to go elk hunting." Well, I'm a Sabine Parish redneck. Okay, I don't know anything about an elk. I mean, I could kill a deer. I knew about deer, but I started reading everything I could get my hands on and talking to him, and he coached me, and he was a phys ed teacher out at Northeast. So he talked to me real seriously about training to do what we were going to do, and he just brought me up to date on all the ins and outs. He had been out there and killed several of them, and had it not been for him, I don't know to this day that I would have been an elk hunter.
I never knew that.
Nope. So I really owe that man a lot of gratitude for picking me up and taking me out there. Okay. So
now that's
that's
before it got
reason.
popular. I mean, that's before Lee and Tiffany. That's before anything was ever commercialized.
Absolutely. Elk hunting wasn't cool. You could get a tag anywhere. I mean, you could draw a tag. I've been in 16A 20 years before it was cool to hunt there, and in New Mexico. But that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. Was I think I owe it to. I'm 74, so I don't know how much longer I'll be able to go. I'm having trouble with my eyes now, and something's going to go, and I'm not going to be able to go, and that's going to be a sad day for me. But I think it's my place to come here and do this and spread the knowledge that I picked up through all those years and give something back, like Doc did me.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of why I'm here. And these two guys.
But no, I'm going to tell you, that surprised me.
Yep.
Well, it goes to show you how much it means. A lot of times we can overlook helping somebody and doing something to give somebody a hand and teaching them the way. But I mean, y'all do it every single day, and you have been for 100 years in the pro shop. But it goes to show you that you got a physical education, a PE teacher, going in and completely alter the course of your hunting career, so to speak.
Had I been trying to go by myself, I wouldn't have known to get in the kind of shape that I got in, the kind of conditioning and the altitude. I didn't know that there was less oxygen out there, and that I needed to hydrate before I got there, and I didn't know a lot of that. Yeah. And so it was, and I've been doing it, like I said, ever since. So, but it just, once you go out there and you get bit, you hear that big bull bugle before daylight down there, and you're in the beautifulest setting that you could ever have, then it's one of those things that just grabs you. It did me. And I'm going to go as long as I can go, as long as my health will let me. It's just where I got to be, you know.
When are we booking a hunt? we ain't making it long.
Hey, look, I'm going to tell you, years ago, we picked on him about that. Say, look, let's go. All I want to do is take a camera. And the only way Dyess can put it, well, boy, I tell you what, we wrap pretty tight when we go up here on them mountains.
Don't want a camera following
We don't want no camera up there, boy.
But I would say to anyone, just to start off with, that if you're considering doing it, then you need to think about the things that I touched on there. What I did, well, we used to walk the river levee here in Monroe. We don't have a mountain here to climb, so we would get on the levee and crisscross the levee from Forsyth down to the bridge and back. And I had a couple of buddies that did that with me, and that's what Doc showed me to do. And what that does is that strengthens your ankles and lets you know if you got the right boots on. And it just got so hot though in the summertime doing that. It would take us an hour or two to cool down when we got back home. So what I did was, Doc has passed now, bless his heart. But anyway, what I did was I went to the gym, and every gym just about has a trainer. And I would recommend this to everyone that want to go out there. Go get with a trainer for 2 or 3 sessions and let him tell him what you're going to do. I might have a pack of elk meat on my back. I'm going to be climbing a mountain. I'm going to be walking for 7 or 8 miles in the morning. Tell him exactly what you're going to do and the altitude and everything, and let them lay you out a program. And once you and you need to start that early. I start in April. And if you're serious about it, you will. And not only do we need to get in better shape, but it's if you want to go and enjoy your hunt and be successful, that's one of the things you need to do. You need to think about that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people ask me, say, well, how do you even get started? I've never been out there and stuff. There are some publications out there. I'll show you a couple of them that I've used. One of them is Eastman's. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, that middle camera's on you.
Okay. And what this magazine does is it covers a lot of the out west states. You see a big old bull elk there.
Pull that mic into you just a little bit more.
Okay.
There you go.
So what this publication does, and there's several of these companies, and it takes state by state where all these animals are, where the elk are located, and it breaks it down for you. It gives you the terrain. It goes back 2 or 3 years on the history of what was killed there. The blue chip units, which are the best units, the green, if you see the green, and now this is Nevada, but they do it for all the states out there. So if you apply, I don't have anything to do with these people, but that is a great book right there to study different states, and it tells you the state's regulations and how they go about the tag system and all of that, and it gives you everything. I mean,
they do a deal too with the do-it-yourself hunter. They have the public land broken down to,
and we have millions and millions of public land out there, acres of public land that you can apply for, and it tells you step by step what to do. And you may not want to, and let's face it, elk hunting has become very expensive, okay? But if you got a guide, then a lot of your troubles are over with. But that's more money. I'm talking to the blue collar. Blue collar guy wants to do it himself, then he can do it. But he's going to have to do some studying and some homework and look at each one of these states and decide where his best opportunity is. Now, used to, when you did not draw a tag, all of the people that didn't draw a tag were going to Colorado. And everybody would ask me, when you going to Colorado? I said, well, I'm not really going to Colorado, but that's what they meant, you know. Well, everybody that didn't draw a tag going to Colorado. So after this year, Colorado is going to a draw system, okay? So that's going to end. And I think Idaho is in there. You'd have to check. I haven't hunted either one of those states. Wyoming is a great elk state. But to me, the best elk hunting is right across Texas. If you can get across Texas, you in good elk country.
Talking about New Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I've done a lot of my damage has been in New Mexico. And their system there is, I can touch on it briefly, it's 84% residents get the tags, 84% of them, 6% to the non-residents, and the guides get 10%. So if you're booking a guide out there, you're going to be in the 10%. That ups your odds just a little bit. Then, if you do not draw, which you're probably not at 6%, let's just face it, but if you do not draw, then the state issues the landowners that are in the unit, in whatever unit you want to go to, they issue a kind of a tag system that you can purchase from that landowner for whatever price. I think the ones in the northern part of the state are a little less than the southern part. The bigger bulls seem to come out of the southern part. And then you can purchase that landowner tag and then get with Game and Fish, and they turn that into a license. And they just, because the elk are coming on private land and they're eating grass, and there's always a conflict between the cattle people and the elk people and the Game and Fish because the grass. You know, they're all eating the same grass. So the state compensates those landowners by doing that. Nice. And some of those people get a lot of money. I mean, those tags are very expensive. But like I said, if you got a guide, then you're not going to have to do all this homework. You're going to go out there and the guide's going to take you on a hunt. You're going to get fed. It's just more money, you know. But I still warn you, go get yourself in condition. And I would actually try to get there even before my hunt several days, 2 to 3 days, because what happens is you get out there, if you got out there the day before your hunt, he's going to run you up a mountain and you're going to get mountain sickness. I still get, even though I know all of that and hydrate a lot, I still get a light headache for a couple of days. So it's a different, you're up 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 feet from here. We're on zero here. Yeah. We can breathe air here. Yeah. Out there, it's different. So don't go out there, run out there and climb a mountain. I go and hang around for a couple of days and just acclimate, and then I slowly start getting into it. I have the time. I'm retired, but I would still, on that important a hunt and as expensive as it is, I would still try to get there 2 or 3 days before the hunt. That brings me to another subject. If you are going out there with a buddy and you're not going to have a guide, you better make sure he's your real buddy. Okay? Because here's what's going to happen. And I've seen it a bunch, okay? You go out there and we're all excited and we're pumped to be there, okay? You got a nice fire going, got your little camp set up, maybe a tent or something, and you're in God's world, okay? After about 2 days, okay, you start to kind of, get used to being there, and it's not, some of the thrill is gone, and you start hunting elk, and you start hitting those mountains. And after if you hadn't gotten condition, the 3rd day you won't get up out of the bed, okay? You'll think you're in pretty good shape the first day, but by the 3rd day, you can't get up. You say, I think I'm just going to stay here a little while longer, and you miss a hunt. Now, that's the thing to do if you're in shape, because after about 6 or 7 days, you're going to burn down anyway. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. On that day, you need to stay in the camp, cook you a big breakfast, shoot your bow, study your map, see where you need to go, think about what you've done in those 5 or 6 days. You're still there to hunt. But I've seen people that burn out in 2 or 3 days and they start getting grumpy, okay? Little things agitate you. And so just be careful who you go with. All of a sudden, back at home, he's forgot something his wife told him to do and he needs to go home. That's what'll happen. So pick your partner wisely. Have an understanding. We're going to be out there 10 days. We're not coming back. This is my trip and your trip. And we're going to respect each other and have that understanding before you go, because you're going to wear down. Those mountains will whip you.
Yeah. I've only been one time. I went to Steamboat Springs up there 4 years ago.
That's rugged country.
Oh, let me tell you something. It was really bad. Fortunately, I went with one of my very best friends, and he's a Marine, and he's a lawyer now, but that son of a gun, he is the Hulk. He would beat you just by looking at you. But we went up there, and we both got altitude sickness, and it was bad, and had a snowstorm coming in. It was a bad deal. But we watched a lot of Randy Newberg, the Elk 101. What's the other guy that Randy does stuff with?
I know who you're talking about.
I forgot. He does all the championship calling and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, they have their Elk 101, and you hear everything that you've talked about so far, plus some that you haven't even got into yet. You hear that from them that you pay for, but picking your buddy, that's one thing that stood out more than anything.
Well, and they didn't. You don't know anybody.
They didn't talk. They don't talk about that. Well, and not just a hunting camp. Like, it's one thing for us to go to Cottonwood, but when you're up there, Steamboat Springs, we were pushing 10,000, and I'm telling you, it was freaking brutal. And I'm glad it was him and not anybody else. So that's one tip you said. I was like, that's as important as anything else.
Absolutely. I've seen it several times. And people, it didn't affect me any because I knew who I was there with, but somebody else that's in camp, and his partner's going to cut out, or something like that. So that's why I say that.
So I forgot to wash the dishes, so I need to go into the house.
I didn't roll the water hose up. I got to go back on.
There you go.
Another point I want to make is if you're going out there with just a couple of you and you got all your gear loaded and everything, something that'll save you a lot of time and energy is I pre-cook my food in August, and I boil bag that food to where when you come in at dark 30 from the mountains and you've hunted that morning and you're tired, we try to get a little power nap in the middle of the day. But when you come in from that nighttime, all you really want to do is go to bed. You're wore out. So the quickest thing for you to do is pick out what you want. It may be whatever, peas or whatever, or vegetables or steak and gravy or whatever, and drop those bags in boiling water, a pot of boiling water, and in a few minutes you got those things set up, you clip the top, and you got your buffet of good food. If you stay dry, God hates tents, okay? If you pitch a tent up, it's going to rain, okay? But if you can stay dry and keep all your stuff from getting wet, and you can rest good and you can eat good, then you're going to hunt a whole lot better. So I go through some extra trouble there to make sure. Years ago, I bought an outfitter's wall tent, and I've sat through a mini storm in that tent, and it's dry. All my stuff doesn't get wet, and I'm telling you, that's the monsoon time out west is about July on through September and August. That's when they get all their rainfall. So you can look for a thunderstorm in the evening a lot of times. So the food tip is that's just one little thing that I wanted to throw in there. And you go out there with your ice chest with all that ice down, and it'll last you. If you use block ice, it'll last you 10 days. No problem.
Yeah. Y'all have some of those big Yetis too, don't you?
Yes.
What's the biggest one y'all have? Like a 150 maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember that offhand.
We don't have the real long. 150 doesn't necessarily mean 150 quart. That's just a model number.
I think it does on Yetis, doesn't it? It don't matter. We're gonna have to.
You have to measure.
Y'all gonna be having to order them before this is up. Yeah. Where are you going this year?
I am going to New Mexico.
Nice.
I purchased a unit-wide tag, and I'm going to New Mexico. I drew a mule deer tag.
What's the me and Michael get a kick out of telling the story, but and maybe we get the years wrong, but what's the not that it matters, the count? How many years?
His success rate?
Yes. How many years and how many have we taken? And you only go one time a year. It's not like you
In
go
one
to
state.
No, I'm not going to several states. I put all my eggs in one hunt, and I see several guys that try to do 2 or 3 hunts and they get scattered out too bad, you know. And by the time you've done that one hunt, you're ready to come back home, watch some football.
That's right.
You know, and
that's right.
it's all going on. LSU is full blown and everything. So, but the count, I've been very, very lucky. You know, an elk come down a trail. If he takes the right fork, I get to kill him. If he takes the left, you got to have some luck. You know, I mean, but I prepare for it too. You know, I shoot every day or every other day. I shot 100 arrows this evening, and so I think I've hunted 56 years, and I've killed 53 bulls.
56 years.
That's where it's at right now.
So was it back in the day? Were there more elk to chase? Or
There was less pressure. You could get a tag very easy. My calling, when I first was going the first year to Colorado, that's where I first went, and I killed a bull there. But the first year I went, I really did a lot of stuff practicing calling, and what I did was I got a hold to Wayne Carlton. He was to me, the mentor of the call system. And what he was doing, he was out in Montrose, Colorado, where he lived, and he was trying to call turkeys, and he got to blowing that thing at some elk, at a reed, and he developed the little green cow call. I'm gonna show it to you here shortly. I've killed a bunch of bulls with that thing, and he was blowing a triple reed, and I blow a triple reed to this day. It's a Quaker boy, but Primos and some of the other companies have some great triple reeds. I mean, doesn't have to be that one, I don't think, and the reason I do blow a triple reed is I get the volume out of it, out of the triple reed. The cow call, I just can't say enough about it. What I'd like to do is walk you through one of my morning hunts and just tell you the way that I go about doing it. Okay, so
well, real quick before you start on that, I just did the math, pulled my phone out and did the math. 94.6, let's just say 95% success rate is what he has in the elk woods. 95%.
And listen, and most of them, because we get to see them,
Oh, yeah.
they're huge.
That's insane.
Huge.
All
And
right.
look, and I'm gonna tell you. First of all, you make your own luck. You can say what it is, because he kills deer the same way. You make your own luck. You say what you.
elk,
I
if you ask
appreciate
me
you
what's
being-
my animal, I'd have to say the elk.
Oh, yeah.
I just get into the elk so bad, you know.
Yeah.
Just the whole deal, the country out there, the time of the year, the bugling. I love to hear a big bugle. I still get chill bumps when I hear a big bugle.
But before you tell us about your morning, why don't you hit that bugle call one time? I want to hear it.
Okay, I'm gonna blow it during the hunt.
To get after it then.
Okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Come on.
It's all right.
Calm down.
So-
Look, calm down.
Hang on.
I'm fired
So
up,
the worst
son.
thing, let's talk about setting your camp up, okay? The worst thing you can do if you have picked a unit like New Mexico or wherever, they're all in units. The worst thing you can do is go to the end of a dead-end road and set your camp up, okay? And here's why. In 3 days, with you pilfering around your camp at the end of that road, you're going to be going out in different directions. In 3 days, you're going to have every elk in that area run out of there, okay? So now you're trapped at that camp, and you're trying to go further and further. So what I do is I look at the unit, and I look at where there's a hub, several road, a road going this way, a road going that way, road going that way, and I put my camp back off the road. I want the peace and quiet, but I can access a lot of avenues, okay? If I mess up this group of elk, I got another group over here. So don't, and that's the same thing with these guys that put a pack on their back and go way in there. They're going to have to constantly pick their camp up and move. I saw a guy last night on television that moved his camp 2 or 3 times in Colorado. He's by himself. He killed an elk 10 miles from his truck.
Holy cow.
Now, he was in the middle of nowhere. It took him 3 days with meat on his back, 20-mile trip, round trip. I wouldn't have wanted to eat that last load that come out of there. So you need to think about that. Where you shoot that thing and how you going to get it out, you need to consider that. But anyway, so don't put your camp on the end of a dead-end road. Put it in the middle of the unit where you can access with your vehicle several places. So you've got 2 or 3 groups of elk found. You got your camp in the right place, okay? So we're going on a morning hunt. So we go, and we're going to pull up into one of these canyons, and we're going to sit there a little bit at daylight, get still, and we're just going to listen, okay, and see what we hear. If we're lucky, we'll hear one and be able to start in that direction. The thermals, we need to talk about that. The thermals are always in the morning, they're going down. Everything's going down to the canyon floor. So you want to stay in the canyon floor until you get right under your animals, okay? Now you got the wind in your face, okay? So and the most important thing, now, people that are listening, you need to put a star by this one because this happens a lot. The most important thing on killing that animal or that bull that's up there is you have got to get within 100 yards of him. You have got to get close. If not, you're just another call. You're just another elk out there bugling. When you get within that 100-yard range, you've got that elk's attention, okay? So we start going to an elk that bugle maybe. Okay, so we're going to him, and he's not bugling a lot. Every once in a while, you're going to have to call to locate the animal, relocate the animal. But I'm still trying. I get a fix on him, and I'm going to him. I'm watching on my stabilizer. I've got a little yarn string tied on my stabilizer. I'm constantly looking at the wind, and I also use a dust. You know, everybody uses these things.
Yep.
I don't use it when I get within that 100 yards because it's too much movement. That's what they see. They can see you and they're not sure, but if you move, you're done, okay? And their nose. So you're watching those two things. So you will say, God, you can't get that close. You can get that close if you take your time and get on in there. Now, when you hit that cow call, that soft cow call, because you're that close, he's going to scream at you and he's going to be in your lap just like that. Now, if you're way 400 or 500 yards, he'll bugle back at you, but he ain't coming. And you see a lot of them bugle way off from the elk. Go on in and close that distance and get right in his face, then hit your call. Okay? I've done that a lot with a cow call and kill him, just like that. Now, if he doesn't respond to the cow call, if the cow call didn't do it, and it's early in the year, the bugle will actually work better than a cow call that I found. So if he doesn't do anything for me with that, then I'll go ahead and hit him with a bugle, and I'm going to show you how I blow it. This is a purple reed Quaker boy. You can do the same thing with the Primos boys. They've got them. And a lot of the bugling I hear on television and all that, I think they're bugling wrong, be honest with you. what you want to do is you don't want to sound like the baddest bull in the world. You know, he don't want to come to some big growler. He thinks he's going to get his tail kicked. So what you want to do, start out really high. That's more like a satellite bull or a smaller bull. And if he's any size to him at all, it just makes him mad. He says, "Man, that little old guy down there, he thinks he's going to come in here and get my cows, and that's not going to happen." Okay, so this is for the buglers, the bugling contest. Okay. And that's what you hear. That's what you hear a lot of times on TV and when they're calling. They'll start out with that, and then they even put a little something on the front of it like, there ain't no elk does that. When you hear an elk bugle, you're going to hear a high-pitched squeal. Yeah, I dropped it off at the end. That gives him more of that gruntle sound.
Yeah.
Okay, but to hear the elk calling contest, that's for the elk calling contest. If you want to kill him, start off with that high-pitched squeal. That frustrates the fire out of him.
Yeah.
Okay, then your cow call. This is the little green cow call I'm telling you about. God, I'd kill some bulls.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, that little guy right there. So when you're cow calling, a trick I do a lot of the times, you want to put realism with a call. Okay, so what you'll do is reach up and snap a limb. Okay, pop, pick your rock up and roll it. Boom, 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 boom. Real soft like that, and let that rock roll and that limb pop. Oh, now you've got realism. If you're sitting on a water hole, it's right at dark. You're running out of time. You got a few minutes left. He's not going to make it before it gets dark. Pick you up a rock and throw it down there in the water. Splash, splash, splash. Okay? He thinks there's an elk down there, and then give him a little soft cow call. So you're they make a lot of racket in the mountains. I mean, walking around and breaking limbs and.
It's hard to believe that a cow that size makes a little bitty
That little sound.
sound, a little whine sound.
See, I'm not going, you. Yeah. I'm going just soft and a couple of them, not many. And if you want to get it to sound a little hollower, see the sound difference? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can make it sound like one elk, and then you make it sound a little higher pitch like a second elk, and it's like a little herd elk. Another thing, okay, when you get an elk to bugle back at you and he's got cows, okay, and you're on that morning hunt and you're crawling up on him, you're trying to challenge him to get him to come in, and he's responding. When you're blowing these calls, you're going to hit one of them that makes him come unwound, okay? He's going to respond. When you hit the one he wants, he'll get back at you. And when he does, I aggravate him with that same call. I just stay on it. I just stay pushing his button because that's the one that got him riled up to start with, okay? And then, so a lot of guys will say, well, I bugled at this herd of elk and the bull gathered all the cows up and they took off up the mountain. Don't blow that call. That's not what happened. What really happened was that bell cow, I call them a bell cow. That's the one, that's the biggest old cow, the biggest old smartest cow in the herd. And you'll never hear this before. I've never heard this said before, but I've watched it. The bull is always in the back. Now, you'll see a bull will go out if they're feeding around out there and a cow gets too far out of line, he'll go get her and bring her back. But he's not leading them. That old bell cow's the one that's leading them. So when you blow a bugle and she picks her head up and looks around there, and I've looked at them doing this now. I'm not just saying this because of theory. I've watched them do it. She'll take off, and the herd starts to, they all look at her, and they've been following her all year. She's the leader. The bulls have been all bachelored up. That's where they're at right now. But they're fixing to bust up. They're growing horns right now. They're fixing to bust up, and when they have decided who's going to be the daddy of that herd, they all know each other. The problem comes is when another bull from out of that group that he was bachelored up with, that's when the fight starts. Okay, well, she don't want that guy that's with that pack to get all bunged up and hurt. If you're fixing to be in a bar fight and your wife's with you, what's she going to do?
Come on, baby, let's leave.
Let's get out of here. Let's go. Yo, you're going with me. Come on. You're going with me. You got a family to take care of. So she will head out, and I've even had a bull turn around and look back at me, and where I could see him, and look back and bugle and come part of the way, and he looks back around at all those cows leaving. He said, I got to go. They're leaving me. That's my herd. I got to go. So that theory of him rounding them up and pushing them out, that's not.
He's just a follower.
Watch every elk thing you ever see and see who leaves out first. It'll be that old bell cow.
How about that?
Okay?
Time to go.
So let's say they took off. They're heading out. You didn't do no good. Stay behind them. They're going to steadily be going up the mountain. They've been down in the canyon all night, watering and feeding and doing all that. They're going up to bed. So don't keep pressuring the animals, okay? Stay back behind them. If they stop and he starts bugling again and they've stopped up there, it's a good way to kill a big bull by crawling in on them and not saying nothing. A lot of time, but it's risky. You know, you got lots of eyes. So that's a good way to kill a big bull, but that's very tough. So just stay behind them and let them go. You watch your watch. About 9:30, you're going to start to see that wind swirling. And what's happening is the thermals are turning around, okay? So where it's been coming down, it's heating up the ground enough that the thermals are starting to go up, okay? So they're going to be bedded probably by then, and he'll be bugling as he's walking, okay? So when they get up there and he kind of quits bugling, they're bedding down. Get out of there. Mark it on your GPS. You got to have a GPS if you're going to hunt out there. Good binoculars, your calls, some Terry King water, which I love, by the way. This bottle doesn't make any sound. I mean,
That's what we say all the time.
That's right.
No crinkle.
No crinkle.
And the water's good.
And it is good.
I mean, the water's good. Okay. But anyway, so bed them down, get out of there, and get back up in there about mid-evening, but don't get right under them where you bedded them. Get off to one side because it's still going up. Thermals are still going up. When he stands up in the bed, he's going to bugle, okay? And they're going to be coming back down. Now, and the thermals are going to drop down, and you're going to be under him, and then you hit him with a bugle. Now you've turned it around. You're in his way, okay? They want to come down and water. They've been laying up there all day. They want to come down and water, and they want to feed on grass, okay? So now you've got it turned around, and your call will work. I've killed several of them doing that. So if you didn't pressure them and run them out of the country, you got a good evening shot at him, okay? In my opinion, there's 2 or 3 ways to kill a herd bull. Either by getting in front of him with the herd, getting in front of him, cutting him off on water. Probably the best is on water. A tree stand on water is deadly, you know, where they're watering. And sneaking in on him. The call, because he's with all those cows, a big herd bull, the bulls that they're killing with a call most of the time are satellite bulls. There'll be 2 or 3 bulls around that herd of cows. He's keeping them off. You know, he's running around there screaming, and they're off out to one side. Well, you hit the cow call, one of those guys are coming to you. And that's the bull you kill. Hey, you kill a 320 or 330 bull doing that. Nice bull.
To death, yes.
But it wasn't herd bull. Okay. If you're going to kill a herd bull, you got to quit thinking about trying to call him in so much as where they're going and get in front of him or catch him on water.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think I could close my eyes. I was on that map
man.
just for a minute. I was.
Okay. Now, let's talk about, let's say your bull come in, you killed him. Okay. Now, the work begins. And I am still in awe when I walk up to one of those 900-pound animals, 800 or 900-pound animals laying on the ground. As many of them as I've got to kill, and I'm probably responsible, no joke, for about 100 others that I didn't kill that I called in for other people. And I enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed just about. But anyway, you got the bull down, you get to him, and I have seen some of these guys bring in meat before that had just have pine straw and dirt all over it, and they just don't take good care of that meat. So when you get to your kill, I got a little bag. I got a meat saw. I got these bags, which are large game bags, okay? Need to get some of these, Rich. Large game bags. That'll hold a quarter. That'll hold a hind quarter or a foreshoulder. You need 5 of them because you're going to have parts. You're going to have tenderloin. I even like to put a little tarp out to one side to where when I do get the elk quarter in the bag, I can button it up and throw it over on that tarp.
You've got this all in your, have you made another trip back to the camp or you have this in your backpack?
No, when you kill your bull, you're going to mark him, dead bull. You're going to mark it with a GPS. If it's at night, if you killed him at night, what I do is I go ahead and gut the animal. And I'll prop it open. And you need to go ahead, if you're not going to mount him, you need to split that hair up to the chin too, because the neck is the hottest part on an elk. That's the meat that will ruin the quickest because that hair is so thick up there, it's really hot there. So go ahead and open that up too. Get the guts out of him. You got him marked. Leave your bow hanging on him. That's got scent on it, maybe a jacket even. Walk out. Come back with you some help, depending on where he's at. Mm-hmm. You know, New Mexico used to have a law that if you had a down bull, you could go in there and get him with a bike. I don't know if that's still. We've always had plenty of help, so we got him out. You know, but if you're going to have to pack him, you need to think about a good backpack.
Good frame pack.
Yeah.
Now these like
but gosh,
microbial or whatever it is that.
Please, y'all, go get you some good stuff to take good care of that meat because it is so good. It is prime. Yeah. I mean, you put all that work into a hunt, get something and take good care of that meat. You know?
Let me see that.
That's why I brought this bag.
So it's not thick. Is this something that is it a one-time use or would you take it home and?
No. After you get the quarter out and it's being processed, you throw that right in the washer with a good detergent and it'll come right out of there just slick as.
You got them?
I got everything I need. I'm just waiting
for
the go.
You don't put doughs in there.
This is actually the company. I think that's the company that's actually the company that I got that from.
Let's see that. They got all kind of stuff, don't they?
Is that Hunting Gear Outfitters? Is that what that says? HGO?
It's for a Yukon, co-Yukon adventure gear?
They have a 5-pack with 5 of those bags in it, just like that. So you got a bag for parts and you got 4 quarters
I got
put
you.
in there.
Well, that's not heavy. I mean, that's
Looks
not
like
as
a
heavy
big
as I thought.
pillowcase.
Yeah,
What it looks like.
it is. Most of what we've ever sold before were sort of
Cheesecloth looking.
cheesecloth deal, and
Yeah, that's got
That's
little
not-
holes in it
Yes,
and
sir.
everything. That's heavier
right.
duty than that. You can take with a hind quarter tied off and put that over your shoulder and tote it, even without a pack. So
how heavy is that? How
a
heavy
hind
is that?
quarter
hind
weigh
quarter?
100 pounds. You're going to get somewhere between 275 to 300 pounds of meat off a good bull.
Really.
That's kind of a misnomer too. There's not very many 1,200-pound elk out there.
No, I never have killed one. Not a 1,200.
We hear
pound.
that a lot.
Biggest bull I ever killed was like in the 390, right at 390. That was the biggest one I've ever killed.
390.
400 is a dream.
Inches.
Oh no, inch. No, I'm talking about weight. I'm talking about not a.
No, that's points.
What did that 390? What did he weigh? 950. What did
He'd have weighed close to 1,000 pounds. He was a giant bull
Really?
with the horns.
New Mexico
Yep.
bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I killed 2 in Colorado. I killed a first bull I ever killed was a 4-point bull, 4x4. Called him in, shot him at 60 yards, and killed him. And that was my first hunt, and that's the one that got me. But anyway, the next, the other bull, we didn't draw a tag, and we ended up back in Colorado, but we went to above Montrose, actually. And I killed a real nice, got lucky and killed a real nice 6x6. It was probably 300-inch bull, which was a big bull for that area because they're so heavily pressured. And
Well, I know this. You brought us a slab of backstrap, and I don't know how many times I told this story. I said, "Shoot, that's good looking meat." So we cooked it on the grill like you would a fillet, and I'm telling you what, it'd throw a rock at a beefsteak.
I have a friend of mine that goes to Florida and dives for lobsters, and we do a little trade out. I give him some crappie for his trip, and when he comes back, he gives me 6 or 8, 10 lobster, however many I need for the camp. And the first,
whoa to the camp. Oh, so you take them on the mountain?
I take
Just
the
listen.
lobsters elk hunting.
Oh my!
So
word.
one night there on the first kill, this is the first kill, I take a piece of the tenderloin and I drop it in a gallon bag with some Italian, marinated overnight. The next night we uncork a bottle of wine
on the mountain.
and we have lobster and grilled elk steaks with maybe fresh corn on the cob or whatever, and there is nobody in those mountains eating as good as we do.
That's right.
Well, I tell you, it all tastes
It's a
better
gourmet
outside,
meal
don't it?
then, and
Yeah.
it's a celebration. I mean, that's part of the fun of it. That's part of the trip. Life is good, isn't it?
Life is good, boy.
It makes you realize how big of a disservice it is when we're sitting here. I mean, look, I love getting in that saddle or one of those Dillon stands. It don't matter. I love getting in there and hunting whitetail. I absolutely love it. But it makes you realize having these conversations,
Look,
how much we're missing
if
out
you want to
on.
rush, I'm talking about a showing up serious rush. You get a big bull, stop out there about 75 yards from you. Come into that call, he's screaming every step. He stops and destroys a pine tree. And his eyes, he is dripping, and his eye, and he is bowed, and he is coming right to you, and you got that bow in your hand. Partner, your heart, if you can stay together and make that shot, I'm telling you, it is it's a rush.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
September the what when we leave?
Yeah, I know.
I'm telling you, it's as good as I say it is, and I wish, I hope everybody will hear this and watch it, and I hope I've shared the enthusiasm for you to want to go there because it's a treat. It's something special. You should go enjoy it.
Well, I just hate it now that it's kind of, it's just
Don't
a
say
money
it.
game now. Is the
I thought you
thing.
was going to say you waited too late.
No. I
they're-
think you
they're
want to
blue
go
collar
before you're not able to walk up a mountain. I mean, I get that. And we've talked about it for years, I guess, but
Well, let me tell you, like I said, I'm 74, and I've been working out since April. I don't want to be to where I can't get up there to him. And when I'm hurting and on that treadmill and going and going and going, then I hear that elk bugling. And I say, I got to get up there. I got to get up there, and it gives you that incentive. If you got a goal, to do it, if you're just going to the MAC to get in shape, sure, okay. But if you got a sure enough reason, then I go 3 days a week and I'm religious. If the white perch that big are biting, then I'm going to have to catch them the next day, Tuesday or Thursday. Because Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm in the MAC.
yeah,
And I can't miss. I got to go.
that's awesome.
What do you do when you go to the MAC? Just real quick.
Like I said, I had a trainer that set me up. I do. You got to always think about the core, okay? And I didn't understand all that, but they talked to me about it. And that's upper body and your stomach but what I do is I start off with a machine that I do arm pushes on and pulls.
Yeah.
So you're pushing and pulling on that bow, okay? So that helps me there. Then I switched on the same machine and I do the leg pushes. I go from that to the crunches, okay? I go from that to leg lifts, and then I do the other way, inside. I get on a deal where you rest your arms on this and pick your legs up. Mm-hmm. I do that. All right, that's the little routine I do. And then sometimes I get over and I'll lift I've been having a little bit of lower back. I lift a weight up and just hold it and let it pull on everything, a heavy weight. So then I go to the other side and I get on the treadmill. And right now I'm doing an elevation of 8 going up the mountain, pretty steep. And I'm doing it at 3.2. Now, if you go above 3.2, you're just about in a trot.
Oh,
And right now I'm doing a mile but I'm rolling, okay? Then I go from that to the killer. Now this machine here, boys, this is bad. I go to that Stairmaster. That's the ugliest machine in that building, okay? You say, I've had people walk up and say, you gonna do it? I said, if you can do 3 minutes, you've never done it? No, I've never done that. I said, get on there. If you can do it 3 minutes, I'll buy you supper tomorrow. At a minute and a half, they're done. That Stairmaster will kick you now. And I'm doing on level 6, which is pretty fast. I'm doing 8 minutes. I'm gonna do 10 in August. All the way through August, I'll do 10 at a level 10. And that you will feel your thighs and you'll feel it burning. The other night, I had to go get some pickle juice out of the icebox. I had a cramp right there.
now look, you said something a while ago that, so you're walking up the mountains, your ankles, I can remember years ago, you going up there to that levee.
That's a great point, Richard. My brother-in-law, Richard Jameson, he was in the best shape I've ever seen anyone in my life. He was running 5 miles every other day. He was in great shape. He went and bought him a new pair of boots, okay? He put them on. The third day, he could not get anything on. His feet were so blistered. So being in the greatest shape in the world, if you don't take care of your feet, put them boots on that you buy good quality. Don't slack, don't shortcut your feet, okay? I put a little thin liner sock against my skin, and then I put a boot sock like a Smart Wool on. And then go somewhere with them if you think you've got the right boot, like a Danner or a quality product. Go to somewhere like the levee and walk it up at an angle and that boot's going to give and see what kind of support you got and how it feels. Or is it blistering you? Is it got some hot spots? And find out before you go out there. Yeah. And really, I'd wear them 2 or 3 weeks and just make sure they're really good and broke in because, man, I'm telling you, your feet will put you down.
I hadn't thought about those ankles. When you said it, I said, holy cow. You know, you're nothing's flat. Everything's at an angle. And if you're catty cornering that heel, it's
you go down
a
a mountain just like the road people build them, switchbacks. You'll go this way a little way and you go that way a little way. You go this way a little way, you go that way. You don't go straight down. If you try to go straight down, you're going to slip. Your feet are pointed down. You're going to slip and fall on your butt.
Yeah.
Okay? So switchback.
Yeah.
That's a good tip there, too.
Yeah. What's some of the gear that you've seen? You've been doing this for 56 years. And so you've been, what do we say, a 94.6, 95% success rate. What is some of the gear that you've seen that maybe you've tried that the hype just wasn't there? Like it was supposed to be good, but wasn't. But what's some of the things that you've seen in the last 56 years that have developed that really made it easier for you, and then some that was just a waste of money?
I would have to put the biggest star on a GPS, a Garmin GPS.
Yeah.
That you had to really pay attention because you're out there and you've parked a bike. Let's say you parked a side-by-side or a four-wheeler in a spot, and it gets dark on you and you're way back in there, you just pull off of a bull. You got to get back to that bike. That GPS for marking a downed animal, for marking a wallow, for marking a spot that you love or a fence cross, it's just invaluable.
Yeah.
And the one I use has a screen that you can put the chip in for New Mexico. And you see exactly where the private land's at and where the forest is at. Mm-hmm. And you see right where you're standing.
Yeah.
I mean, just like Onyx.
Yeah. Well, in Onyx, they sell those chips.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the ones you're talking about.
I think it is. That's where I got it. I think that's where I did get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have one for Iowa. I have one for Missouri. I just want to know and it tells me who owns the property. If I want to go ask permission to hunt deer or something,
Well, I'm assuming they lose their sense of humor in New Mexico if you're on the wrong side of the fence.
We had a group of hunters in New Mexico. There's 4 of us. And about 1 or 2 times during the hunt, they would all the older guys, I was younger then, the older guys would say, okay, who's going to go find him? And this one guy would get lost. And I'm not going to tell you his name because y'all all know him. But anyway, I would go out there and I would find his bike and please let somebody know where you're going. Please let somebody know where you're going. Even when I stayed in a tent 10 days by myself, I wrote a detailed note on the hunt. Somebody came looking for me. I had a rancher that would come check on me every 2 or 3 days. And that's the time that I got caught in all the rain in the tent. I had 3 days of rain, and I was in that tent, and I was talking to myself. And somebody said, well, did you ever answer yourself? I said, no, I didn't quite get that far. But leave, they got to know. And if you're packing way back into somewhere and going to set up a spike tent and hunt back there, then go on and get you a satellite phone where you can. And those
Do you
guys,
carry one of those with you too?
I have not, because other than that one time, I've had people that knew where I was going. I'd tell them where I was going, and they knew the hunt I was on and stuff. But I can see where you could really, and not only that, but if you packed way back into somewhere and you shoot a bull like that guy I was telling you about, then I would have it lined up with a guy down in town, one of those cowboys. Hey, bring the horses. I've got him down. Let's get him out, where I can save my meat, Yeah. There's people that'll do that out there in all those western states. If you just stop and line it up with him, say, hey, I hear you pack out animals. Couple of $100, that elk's out of there. He's got a pack team.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Garmin Alpha, and there's better ones to get, but like I'm thinking ones that y'all sell, that one I bought from y'all, but it's the Garmin Alpha 200i. So I bought that one. That way I can run all my bird dog stuff and have the shot collar and GPS collar, all that, and controls on it. But it's not as big. The screen's not as big as your iPhone screen, but it's pretty dang good size. But it has the inReach built into it. So it's like you can't call, but you can text. Has a satellite text messaging feature on it.
There you
and
go.
So like when I go to Kansas, especially hunting public ground, if I get up there and I don't have any signal, being able to go and text my wife or whoever back and forth, then you can. But they make another one. I don't know the model number, but if you don't want the dog controls, which you don't, you could get that one. The Garmin something that has inReach. Get that built in and has a satellite text. And it's like $15 a month.
They own that
cheap.
industry. Wow, boy, that company is something, especially with the live scope and everything. That's a whole nother.
Hey,
A whole nother subject there.
Yeah, that's another episode.
Round two.
That's part 2.
that's what we were talking about. Richard called me today. He's like, look, Buck, I don't know if we need to go ahead and try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's talk about, the elk hunting for a bit, get that, and then we'll stop, and then we'll do, take a break, get supper or whatever, and come back. And I said, dude, we're going to be rolling through the elk hunting one for a while. I mean, we're an hour in so far.
I apologize. I just felt like I had a lot to say to those guys that are going out there and want to go out there, and it's not beyond reach. You can do your homework. Another thing I would advise that once you settle on an area that you're going to do it, if it's any way possible, take your wife and y'all go make a little summer vacation and go to the area that you're going to hunt, pick you out a camp spot. And you're going to laugh at this, but this is one of the things that's helped me a lot, is if you're out there on Sunday before the hunt, go to church. Go to church. You're going to meet a lot of the local people there. They're going to recognize that you're a stranger. And before you know it, there's going to be some of them come up and say, well, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Louisiana. Don't say Louisiana because they but anyway.
We're from South Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm from South. Anyway, that's a joke. But anyway.
Anybody that's hunts in the winter.
I'm out here on an elk hunt, and I just thought I'd come to. And what you're doing is you're meeting some of the local people and some of the ranchers that you need to be there anyway. It's just a good place to be.
That's right.
Okay. But you meet those people that live out there, and they'll offer you, it's like you're part of their church family then.
Yeah.
And so you get a lot of good information, a lot of help out there.
Look, Mr. King, they just like to hear you talk is the thing. Can you talk to us some more with that Southern talk?
That's just one of my call for in that unit while you're out there. Look up the guy that takes care of the forest. He's out there every day looking at the timber and stuff. Talk to the biologist. There's a lot of homework that you can do to nail that down.
Now I see you've got a waterproof bag there. That's a lot of years. There's a lot of years packed in that little sack.
Yeah, I keep a little old fold out book. Of course, I've got a lot in my GPS, but this little book, Richard, if something happens to me, you go to Bonita and you say, I want that little book, because I may have it in my pack. That's where I generally keep it. But it's just a little notebook. And what I do when I find a real good spot or a place that I like, or a wallow or something, I GPS it and I write the coordinates down and I label it in that little old book. I've got hundreds of waypoints.
Now, Mr. Kenny, I know the cameras are rolling, but I need to ask you this. So
I'll cut it out.
Are you that diligent on your bass spots also back in the day?
Crappie spots are hard to come by too.
Hey, crappie spot, I don't care, but
this is
Lake Flavor.
Now I'm still old school, okay? But in this pack, when I've been somewhere and I come back and I want to see what else is over that ridge, that's topos of where I'm going hunting right there. And what those topos will do, it'll tell me where those steep grades are and where those grades, like going up a canyon, where those grades kind of level out a little bit, and where they come off with the steep, you're going to probably have more grass there. And that's a very good place for the elk. They're coming down out of that thicket and they're coming down to feed. So Topos are that's a very valuable thing to have. I mean, you know, I don't go anywhere without good topos.
That's a lot of years in that little sack right there.
I mean, back in his office, he had a big
I'll pull it
mouth.
out. If I'm sitting around camp and I'm having a pretty hard time, I'll pull it out and start going through my notes and figure out a hunt, you know, studying these topos. Another thing I do, I'm going to let you have one more trick, okay? One more trick.
All right.
All right. When you figure out where you're going in the unit, before you go out there, get on your computer. Technology is wonderful. Get on your computer and pull up your satellite. Go to the nearest town, let's say if I'm in the Gila, I'm in reserve. Okay, pull up reserve, and it'll put you right in reserve. And then I go into the unit, and in New Mexico, water's precious. Okay, it's everything. And I start cursoring down those canyons, and a water hole will jump out at you. It'll be a round spot in the middle of that canyon. It's generally going to be where two tributaries come together to where it'll catch water. And the people that put those there are the cattle people. Okay, so a lot of them are not on the map. If you can find the water in that elk country,
that's awesome.
You have got yourself something, especially one that's not on a Forest Service map. But if you'll walk that canyon with that cursor and just sit there, I've sat there and walked every canyon in that unit and found water that nobody knew about.
How about
The
that?
water will shine, and it's going to be in a round, they call them tanks out there. They're about as big as this area here. But it's a fine place for a big bull to come flop down in, you know.
Cool off or what have you.
And the elk water and everything. So,
know-
I hope this has helped some of the people.
Oh, dude, look,
Oh, yeah.
I'm fired up right now. It's going to be tough for me to.
I'm passionate about it because I love that animal. You know, I belong to Bugle. I've supported them for a lot of times. Very good. If you're wanting to fool with elk, well, you got to have Bugle. They put a lot of land that you couldn't hunt where you can hunt it, and they take care of the animals. I mean, they're all about supporting elk.
Are they a part of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation?
That is that.
Okay.
That's their deal.
Bugle is the Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, I saw the
that's
logo
their
now.
magazine.
that's their
Okay.
okay.
And there's all kind of gear and
Oh,
stories.
yeah, I see the logo now.
Yeah.
Inside.
I get one about twice a month, and it tells you, you know, what properties they picked up and what's open new. Like, see, there's a whole new area there.
You know, he was talking about the maps a while ago, something that you and I've done, that place you like to fish in Morehouse Parish so much.
Yeah.
You can go and you've looked at it on different maps, Onyx, Hunt Stand, different ones, and you can go. I know you use Onyx.
Yep.
But the picture you get, especially depending on the time of the year when they pull the capture of that satellite image, Onyx for whatever spot in New Mexico, you said 16A or whatever it is, you can look at Onyx and it'll look green, luscious, everything else. You can pull up Hunt Stand or another one of his competitor maps and pull it up. It was captured in a different time of the year to be able to see those water holes, or like our case, some of those real deep spots, seeing timber and stuff like that. You can see those differently. And so you said that, and I don't use that for elk. I'm not an elk hunter yet, but that's one of the things that I use for whitetail and even fishing and stuff too, is looking at multiple different satellite maps, Hunt Stand, Onyx, to be able to pull those different captures.
Tell you another little trick. Toledo Bend. You was talking about Toledo Bend a while ago. Go back to about 2011 when they had a drought. They also did a satellite. Okay? The water was way down. You're going to see humps out there that you didn't know were there that are dry because it was a drought. You couldn't put your boat in anywhere. So if you go back and look at that, just go back to that year and punch it in, you're going to see some stuff that'll scare you out there.
Holy cow.
That's another little tip.
I appreciate that. So now, Michael, tomorrow we're going to be busy at the store. And I said, Michael, what are you doing? He said, dude, you ought to see this Cleveland Bend deal.
I wish I could take everybody that hears this elk hunting. I just wish I could. There's too many of y'all.
Well, what Michael and I have figured it out. One of us is going to go 1 week.
First week, second
maybe
week.
your
I
first
already
week.
told Michael he needs to be applying, and I'll take him if he draws.
And then the second week, the other one of us will
Y'all have done so much.
we'll pass each
I mean,
other.
I was a 40. I rep archery all my life practically, and thought I knew everything in the world. But you guys are better than I could ever be. You're up on the technology. You tune bows, unbelievable, and y'all.
Hey, look, we learn something every time you come in.
Yeah.
Y'all work on there. You two guys are the guys that work on my own equipment.
Yeah, we have fun.
How far do you have to drive to get to them?
30 miles. And
That ain't bad. You said
I've
Bonita.
been there a bunch this year.
No. That's Miss Bonita.
That's Miss
I thought
Dyess.
that's Bonita Dyess. I thought you was talking about Bonita, Louisiana. I'm like, Bonita is a lot further than 30 miles.
no.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little quick deal here. One day I was in there, and I, of course, know it all. I'm a rep, an ex-rep about archery. And so Michael's tuning on my bow. He's got better eyes, better hands, does it every day. Why not let him do it? So I'm sitting back, and we're trying to get this bow to bullet hole. Okay, which is tuned. And Michael said, well, if you go that way, I'm arguing with him about which way to go with the rest. I said, if you go that way, it's going to bullet hole. No, he said it won't. He said it'll tear to the left. I said, nah, you're wrong. So he went ahead and did it like I wanted to do it. Guess what?
It was wrong.
It was wrong.
I did
So-
make her redo it.
I said, okay, I'm out. You're in.
I was just
You do it.
sometimes with y'all two doing that. And I was there that day. Two pair of eyes are
yeah.
better than one sometimes.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the whole deal. A guy that just doesn't look at his bow, much, and just shoots it some, you're going to see, because you look at bows every day, you're going to see a splinter on a limb, a string that's coming unraveled. You're going to pick up things on that guy's bow that he would never see. Yeah. And that's why people should go do that. And don't wait around till September. Yes. Please go in there now and get your equipment fixed. You don't want to stand in line. Go get your equipment right now. Please. And that way, when you want to walk out in the backyard and shoot a few arrows, you can.
Yeah.
I shoot every other day. I love to shoot anyway.
Right.
But why wait till the last minute to go do that? That's just kills me.
Well, you're speaking to the choir, boy. and then it just rolls down here. We had a good customer, a good friend of ours, give us a copy of a saying that and matter of fact, we put it in a picture frame and put it above our computer. But hit me with it, Michael, is I might should have thought about it before I even opened my mouth about it now, but
I can see it, but it's pretty much
Poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on
Yes,
mine.
that's
Or
what it
something
is.
similar
like
to
that.
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
y'all still do everything you can to help people out. But when you get to this time of the year, gas strings are what, 3 to 4 days, 5 days in
About 5
production,
days out plus
5
shipping.
days plus shipping. So you're talking about if you order them Monday, you're going to have them the next week. You give it a few more weeks. That ain't the case. Their production. I mean, it'll be
unless
4
they
to
something
6
a
weeks.
little different, it'll take
That's right.
it'll take a month to get them
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah, that's a while.
So
What I wanted to ask you. I'm gonna get you to pull your mic back in just a touch. But
Okay.
Thank you. What broadheads do you shoot?
Boy, that's a debatable question.
No, it is.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Someone with
I'll tell you
much
where I've
success
landed.
as you've had.
Okay. I always shot a fixed blade because of the penetration. I want 2 holes. And I've shot through most all the animals I've shot. I'm lucky, made a good shot. But they have done such a great job on some of these expandables. Now, I'm not talking about a 2-inch cut. That's a whitetail broadhead to me. But I am shooting right now on my arrows and stuff, I'm shooting a dead meat.
G5 product.
Yeah.
And the blades are from Germany, which are razor sharp. I'm not trying to cut a big hole. It's a smaller cut. It's like 1.25 inches.
Inch and a half.
Inch and a half. So I'm not trying to cut a 2-inch hole. So you don't want to get a broadhead that's so big that if you're shooting some distance, that it's going to stay in him and not go through the other side. You want to shoot through them. And because you're going to be on your hands and knees looking for a speck of blood, you want that pass through.
Yeah. And that's what I shoot. I started shooting those last year, the dead meats. And
it's
just
a
for
killer.
whitetail. And they're
It's a killer.
The entrance or the exit, either one, it is a most ugly wound.
As big as that bottle of water right there.
I shot a bull year before last with one, and I shot the bull at 50 yards, and I hit him dead in the middle, and it shot all the way through him, 50 yards. Now I shoot about 66, 67 pounds.
How much does your arrow weigh?
And I shoot
my next
a
question.
Now, the hair where I've been on arrow weight has been right around 400 grains. I think that's a magic number.
That's total weight. That's when you release it. Yeah.
You listen to him.
400 grains, okay? And my setup is shooting about 290, 291, 292, somewhere right there. And I shoot a Hoyt. I like a smooth draw bow, and that Hoyt will do it. I'm telling you, it's one of the smoothest draw bows. Eason has come out, I guess I can say this. Mm-hmm. Eason has come out with an arrow called a 6.0, and I am shooting that arrow.
Sonic.
A Sonic 6.0, and I love it. It's grouping great down 50, 60 yards. I took it out to a cow pasture, a bale, the other day and shot it for an hour. When the pin's there, it's there. They shoot really good.
It's a little over 400 grains, not 575 grains.
Or 680 with a single bevel.
Whatever it is. Of course, that'll have a lot of people will get flack for that. But it doesn't take that. It doesn't take that heavy.
Well, the bows are so efficient and they're tuned. These boys got those bows tuned to where, I backed up the other day to 15 yards and shot just as pretty a 22 hole. That's how tuned those, So, that's without fletching. That's a bare shaft. Yeah. So if your bow is tuned already and you got all the ump in that arrow and it's going 290 feet a second, you're going to shoot through it. Unless you get into a shoulder blade and I tell people when they shoot an elk, stay off of that shoulder. That's a bad habit. They want to go up like a rifle and shoot them. Well, they got a big plate that runs right there. You want to be from that crease on back to the back of the rib in there, right in there. That's where you need, and it's the kill on them's about like a basketball.
Yeah.
And know your distance that you're fishing at. Some people can shoot great out to 70 and 80 yards. I saw Lee and Tiffany. Lee shot 192 yards and killed him. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm not going to shoot 192 yards. My eyes are bad anyway. But know your distance. When I'm out elk hunting, I've got a rangefinder right here if I have time to use it. And I try to make time if he's way out there. If he's under 30 yards, forget the rangefinder. We're focused on the animal. Yeah. And when you start to set up on an animal, the setup is very critical. Okay, I didn't talk about that, but what's going to happen if you got a crosswind, if you got a wind blowing in front of you like this and the elk's out there, if you've got a buddy and you're calling for him, you're going to get 75 yards back. There's a hang-up place there. An elk will come to within about 70 yards, and he's looking. He don't see no more elk. He's hearing a call. He don't see no more elk. He's out of there. So what you want to do is your shooter is up here on the downwind side, because that elk is going to try to swing and catch the wind of where this call's coming from. So you want the elk here, the shooter here, the wind's blowing here, the caller's back here. He's going to hang up right there, which should give your shooter a shot. Very important.
Well, that's good.
Be still. Don't be jabbering, moving around. Just get there, back up into a little old bush, or get behind something. But if you get behind something, get you some space between you and your object where you can draw. And I mean, you know, the setup, I'm sorry I didn't talk about that, but the setup is really, really important.
Yeah.
You know, that bull is walking and he's looking for another elk. So if you're still, and even if he sees you, he's not gonna know. I've seen him walk right on people before. I mean, you know, if you don't move, but when you move, all right, now here's another tip. One more, okay?
We're not stopping you.
So you're there and the collar's behind you and the bull swings into you, and all of a sudden you're pinned. You can't draw. So he's got you, okay? So let him get up there within about 20 steps of you, 20 yards, and pick your bow up slow and start to draw. And when you do that, he's going to blow out, okay? He's going to take about 3 or 4 big, long jumps. He's going to, when he feels safe, he's going to spin around and look back to see what happened. Don't stop drawing. Keep drawing your bow. Even though he's running, draw your bow, put about 10 or 12, 13 yards on what you had it on, and you'll kill him. I've killed several of them doing that. They will always spin it. 90% of the time, he's going to, 3 or 4 big long jumps, he's going to stop and spin around and look. There's your shot.
A lot of people let it back down, throw the hat or whatever. And
He turns around and looks at
turns
him.
around and
Laughs.
looks at, oh,
I was crawling in on a bull one time, 370 bull. And it was light rain, had JR with me, a boy that walked with me that had a ranch out there. And this bull was bedded, and we could tell he wasn't moving, but he'd bugle every once in a while. It was light, drizzling rain, good for slipping in. I had a rain suit on. So he's calling. I said, you just keep, every once in a while you call, and that's going to tell me where he's at, and I'm going to try to crawl in on him. So it took like an hour and a half, but finally I found him with my binoculars, taking a few steps and look, found him. Well, it was my good luck that he was bedded like this with his head looking the other way. So I got to the last little bit of cover that was there, and I eased out and I ranged him 44 yards. Got that whole side laying there like that. I'm going to just kill him. So I go ahead and just stand up behind my tree, and I just step out at full draw. I gap shoot. I shoot a 5-pin sight, okay? I don't shoot movable because I don't want to be chasing that animal walking to me, okay? So I gapped my 40 and 50, got him framed up right there, touched her off. When I turned that string loose, water went everywhere. That bow was soaked in that rain. You could even see a trail from the water. Well, needless to say, my arrow went right under the bull. He jumped up, took off running the whole time. I use a cat quiver. I don't put arrows on my bow. I keep my bow lean. By the time he's running, I'm getting another arrow out, and I get knocked up. He runs out there and stops at about 55, and I pinwheeled him. Killed that sucker dead.
but that string gets heavy, but it filled up with that
Well,
water.
see, I cleaned the bow when I shot it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that the second time.
Yeah.
The bow was, I shot it and the water went everywhere, so I was clean on, and I just got lucky and guessed the right, got the right distance on him.
I remember that picture. You have a picture with your rain suit on. You're standing behind that bull.
Yep, 370.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, good bull.
Well, we enjoy you. we appreciate you coming in. Look, I'm going to tell you, because a lot of that stuff you do, you keep it pretty tight to the vest with some of your information. And
Richard, like I said, I'm getting older, and it's time to share some of it. Let's let some other people go out and enjoy it. I've had a heck of a role out there.
yes, sir, you have. You're our hero, I can tell you that. Well,
I mean, dude, I don't want it to end. I'm looking, we're an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm like, good Lord, I got a few more hours
but
to
you
hear
got to
this.
promise us we've got to have one more of these, and we'll talk fishing a little. Boy, I have got some questions, but you've got way more stories. Some of the greatest stories I've ever heard was, when you got started in the industry.
I killed at that time I was in the tent, I killed a 380 bull. And that's a pretty good little story. It's short. I'll go ahead and tell you that. But anyway, I lost the elk. I couldn't find the elk. I went 2 or 3 days and wasn't in them. And I happened to be on a 4-wheeler one day, and I went around into some country I hadn't been in. And the whole mountainside, the little old drain going up through there, and the whole mountainside was covered in oak bushes. So just rained. I'm looking at some tracks that cross the road there. So I get off my bike, and I'm to kill the bike, and I'm looking at the tracks. I hear a bull bugle up in there, middle of the day. So I went up the little old drain, went up there about 200 yards. There's a big, nice, muddy walleye. I said, oh, goodness, look here. So I went on. I had more of the drain to go. I went on up, and there was another one. I ran into another one. So that evening, I sat on the furthest one. Well, he came to the first one, big bull. And I heard 2 or 3 more. So that put me, but what the deal was, well, there was a huge acorn crop that year. And all that oak brush, it looked like a feedlot in there. Those elk were on those acorns. Every elk in that country was in there.
Now, you're talking about a bush. Now, how tall?
Well, when I say a bush, it's a tree as tall as this ceiling.
Okay.
It's up there, but they're that big around, but they're thick, But anyway, so I came back the next morning, parked my bike right there at the mouth of that drain. I'm sitting there in the dark. A bull bugles up there in that oak brush on top. And by the time it all was said and done, there were 8 or 10 bulls bugling that answered him. I said, oh, man, I have hit the load here. So I said, okay. Let's listen to them a little bit here. I'm going to pick the biggest growler, and that's the one I'm going to. So sure enough, I started up in there. Didn't say a word, just crawling in, going to them through that thicket. Well, I got up there to where he was at, and there were some cows out in a little clearing. I'm good. I said, all I got to do is sit here and wait on him to come check. He'll make a circle. He'll check those cows, 40-yard shot, and I'll kill him. Big growler. So I'm sitting there. I did not see the cow right here. She spooks, runs through the elk out there in the clearing, takes the whole herd down another drain, and they go up on the next little hill over there, and they all stop. And he starts bugling again. Okay, I'm going on. Well, I took on across there, and I got over there, and he was in a thick area. He's up in there, and I could hear him thrashing around, running cows, and same thing. Cow right here I didn't see. She blew out. Now, this is a big herd bull. Okay, I had to reed in my mouth. So at that point, I had nothing to lose. So what I do, I just screamed as loud as I could. Just, here that sucker come running there on me, and I killed him.
And how far?
Now,
How far
that's
was it
an
from?
instance right there that you say you can't kill a big bull with a call. But that's a certain scenario that happened that I killed that bull.
How far was it from you?
About 25 yards.
On top of it.
Mm-hmm. That was an 8x8 that scored 380.
Holy cow.
Son.
That's what I said. I walked out there and that big sucker was laying up out there, and them horns was sticking out high above those weeds. I said, "Oh goodness!" And I've had times that I've hunted the whole season, and them mountains just kill you, and you sit down and you finally kill one. I have sat there before and just be totally physically drained, mentally and physically, and just bawl like a baby.
Oh, that's all.
It's just so overwhelming, you know. You just after you've tried so hard and you've done all you can do, and you just feel like you're whipped. You can go from, you remember I said this now, you can go from your lowest low to your highest high in just minutes. That's elk hunting. That's all I'm going to tell y'all.
That's a good one to
Go elk hunting.
That's a good one to stop it on.
We appreciate your
Yep.
Oh, you're welcome.
your time this
I
afternoon.
appreciate you guys helping me with my equipment, and you have a wonderful store down there, and I'm proud for y'all. I really am.
We appreciate it.
Y'all have been good friends of mine for a long time. Bought a lot of stuff from me.
Well, it's reciprocated. We appreciate it.
Yep.
And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to sit here and relay some of this to all the folks.
Well, it'll be appreciated to everybody that hears this.
Oh, yeah.
They'll say, "I've been doggone."
I can promise you, I've listened to a lot of elk hunting and a lot of hunting podcasts. There's not one that's as good as this one. This is the best elk hunting podcast anybody will ever listen to and hear.
That's good.
The
We didn't
reason,
even have to ask a whole lot of questions. I mean, he's autopilot.
No, that's right.
the reason for that is I'm just passionate about it, and I've done it. I've been there and done it. My wife said, "You don't have anything written down." I said, "I don't need it. It's all here.
Yeah.
It's all right here."
Yeah. This was good. This was really good.
Okay.
This won't be the last one.
Nope.
I promise you. We're going to talk about some crappie fishing and bass fishing and
Okay.
picking out. You can
Love to.
You can bring your book back with you. We'll take some pictures of it. But all jokes aside, this is not the last elk hunting
Good.
podcast.
I enjoy doing it.
No, it's fun. It's different coming here and doing this, and especially when you don't have an agenda. You just come in here and like, we're just going to sit here and talk. And
No, and you've got a nice place
Man,
here.
we're
You've got it
laid
rigged
back.
up just
We're
good.
sitting there drinking Terry King water.
we'll have to get him in here with us next time, and
Okay.
we can shoot.
I like Terry. He's cool. He's a cool guy.
We did an episode with him, and we did one with him. He talked about his book and stuff coming out, and him growing up and things like that. It was really interesting.
Good one. Yep.
He's a cool guy and with a good story and a great man.
Yeah.
But
we are right here. It is. Let me stop my timer on my watch. Ran an hour and 30 minutes. What my Garmin watch said. We're July 23rd, so we're wrapping up. We got a week or so left of July. We're gonna be here right here at August, and you're gonna be getting the truck packed up here pretty quick. And
Not long.
yeah,
Well, it's 38 days, 10 hours, and some few minutes.
you got it figured out.
Till you leave, huh?
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, you ain't got to shop online. You can if you want. Free shipping on orders $99 or more. But everyone else listening, you can slip down to Spotted Dog. Brand new website. It is a matter of fact, Ryan Richard, his son, he's back there and an instrumental part of setting all this up and the website. And it's great. And I mean, y'all are adding new stuff every single day to it. It looks awesome.
well, we're proud of it. It looks good. It's professional. It's easy to navigate. I can navigate. I think that's the thing. Richard, can you get on there and buy something? I go on it. It passes.
Yeah.
So if Richard can do it, anybody can do
Yeah.
it.
But it's good. SpottedDogSportingGoods.com. Go check it out. Free shipping on orders, $99 or more.
Yeah.
And some of the cool things, you can use trail cameras elk hunting, but I know a lot. We just got back from Kansas and we went and we took a whole load of those Tacticam reveals up there. There's no trail cameras. And that new Rambo bike, I don't know if y'all are shipping Rambo bikes, but everything.
You may have to come by and get that.
You had to come pick that up. But those Tacticam, those reveal, those Pro, or even the 3.0s, but the Pro 3.0s, dude.
That's what I'm using.
Oh, man.
I love them.
It's
Easy
They're
set up.
Great
wicked.
pictures, easy to set up. The Pro with the two your two SIM cards, so you can use AT&T or Verizon.
You don't have to have a SIMS card on the new ones. It swaps back and forth internally. I didn't know that. Corey up there with his, we had one where I think we're trying to check it with AT&T, and it swapped to another provider. I think Verizon.
Yeah,
maybe,
whatever's the best service, it'll swap.
So there's not a SIM card in it, period. Okay, that's awesome.
And
or a memory card.
No
You don't have to
SD
have a
card
memory
either.
card.
Yep.
Everything
I knew
internally.
that.
Speaking of Tacticam, I don't think I sent y'all that picture. Zoom in on that dude.
Oh wow, that's a nice doe in the back. I'm the
Got a
doe
big
guy.
velvet
He's a doe killer.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
good one.
That's Kansas. You can tell
daylight.
that's
But
Kansas.
the quality of it, I mean, that's I'm showing you the big deer too, but it's just the quality of it. I mean, you could count the dang flies on that son gun at 10, 15 yards.
Oh yeah.
Quality of
That's a
them's
picture.
good. But yeah, free shipping on orders, $99 or more. I know we've talked about doing some promo codes and some stuff like that, especially on special occasions like this. And so we're in the works of that and a lot of other really cool things that we may be implementing.
And we are, and we'll talk about that as the days go by with some other things with you too.
Yeah, we got some really cool videos we're working on. Matter of fact, the one we're working on right now, these two cats, they don't even know about them. They don't even know what it is. I told them, I said, let me surprise you with it. It'll be fun. It'll be really cool. But going in a 400 grain arrow, I went to shooting a 405 this past year. Had phenomenal success with it. Killed multiple deer and passed throughs on every one of them with that dead meat. But I thought 405 was crazy light. I've been that 430, 425 to 435.
That's a great weight.
Yeah, it is.
It
But
is.
Hearing 400 on an elk,
For an elk, yeah.
with a dead meat at 50, 55 yards, getting a pass through,
Right through him.
nobody else online is talking about doing that right now. And you got
I'm here to testify.
a load of
Doesn't
them.
get a lot of clicks.
No, that's right.
No,
I
this
ate
will.
some backstrap off of it.
Hey, look,
We got
have
the proof.
I have a story. The last one, we'll leave it with this. My father-in-law, he went, he's going to be listening to this. He's going to be shaking his head talking about it now. But Miss Rhonda, she went and pulled out a piece of deer meat, what she thought was, out of the freezer. Well, her son, Jake, Lamar's son, they went on elk hunt. He went and gave Lamar, I think, as a backstrap or tenderloin or something like that. So he had it vacuum sealed and all that other stuff. She goes, she sticks it in the crock pot all day long. He gets ready. Lamar gets to the house and pulls the backstrap out, and it's as brown as that table, or it's just, yeah, it was terrible. Richard, he had to run off and use a bathroom. They didn't got sick to the stomach after that. So, but yeah, so it is some fine meat. It's some good stuff.
Oh man. Yeah, you can't get any more. What do they call it? What do they call it when it's pure?
Organic.
Organic. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't get any more organic than that.
That's the Lord's meat right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, cool. I guess we can wrap it up. I don't know what Richard's doing. I guess that well done backstrap or tenderloin of that elk that made him sick to his stomach. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I enjoyed talking about it.
Yeah, this has been good. Michael, thank you for allowing us to be able to do this. I tell Richard the same thing, but again, he done wandered off. He'll catch us right here at the end. But yeah, it's 8:45. We're about to break it down and head on. We talked about going to eat. It may be too late for that, so we'll see. But all right, thank y'all so much for listening. Again, SpottedDogSportingGoods.com. Check it out. Just about anything you need, they have it. If they don't have it, Mr. Ryan over there, they're adding new stuff every single day. And so we're right here at the end of July. Bring your bows in, whether you're elk hunting in September and 16A or not, get your bows in and let these guys check it out. So here he comes. Run, Richard. Come tell everybody bye.
We're closing it out.
Did that well done elk backstrap make you sick, or you just couldn't handle it anymore?
No, we were going to have one more story about 4 stories ago, and I had all I could take.
Wrap us up. Tell everybody bye. We leave.
I got into the elk.
I've been a hole in this cushion. Anyway, look, we want to thank everybody for tuning in and doing this. And Miss Kitty, I'm telling you, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming out. You're my favorite, and I appreciate it.
Yes, it's been great.
Same here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
See y'all.